Yes. Uh, do you hear me well enough if I speak from here? I feel like I don't hear myself well, so no. A little closer. It's not even on. That's probably the biggest issue. Yeah. What about here? Is this good? Good. Yeah. I don't want to be too close. And then, so you both are taking this mic when you need it. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Great. Yeah. So I'll just let you do that whenever you're ready. Great. How are you doing?
into our house of hope and love, of peace and justice, of wholeness and healing. Come in where we welcome the certain and the seeking, the long-timers and the newcomers, the beloved and the brokenhearted. All of you can find a home here at Throop, where we go love the world from the heart of Pasadena and from the heart of our homes. Good morning and welcome. Brad's going like this to all of our friends joining us on live stream today. We also want to welcome our good friend Reynold, who is with us on the piano. Yay, Reynold, welcome back. Malcolm is away this weekend. Our winter liturgical season wraps up today. Can you believe it? Where have the weeks gone? Winter offers us lessons of rest and dormancy, and darn it, with everything that has happened in the world, it may be that some of us struggled a little bit with those lessons of rest and dormancy, but I know that we did our best, and you can always practice them at any time of the year that works for you. Next Sunday, we begin our spring liturgical season, and we welcome that season in with a special kind of exuberance that happens in Throop Hall for worship next Sunday with our first fruit ceremony. So when you roll in next Sunday, we will see you in Throop Hall. And also, if you are new to Throop, next Sunday, after worship, we have a newcomer social, and that's a chance for you to learn a little bit more about Throop and to learn a little bit more about the newer people who are coming in. There will be snacks. So there you go, 12:30, newcomers come. It'll be in the Colic Lounge, which is just off of Throop Hall. And if you are new to Throop today, we love to stay in touch with you, and you can fill out an info card that you'll find in the pew back in front of you, and you can give it to an usher a little later in worship. Take a breath. You made it into the sanctuary, into Throop today, your spiritual and religious home. And every Sunday, we're reminded that each one of us is a light in the world, and the flame from our chalice symbolizes and reflects that light.
Our time together in worship is intimately connected with our daily lives. As a symbol of that connection, we light our chalice with a flame from our candles of hope and witness. May this flame instill in us a sense of hope, that out of the ashes, each of us arises stronger than before. A sense of possibility that even in the hardest times, we are blessed by amazing grace. We light a second candle to honor the people and ancestors whose lands we now occupy. The land under and around Throop is the unceded land of the Gabrielino Tongva Band of Mission Indian people. May this knowledge and awareness lead us into dismantling systems of supremacies and oppressions. We light a third candle symbolizing our watershed, the Arroyo Seco. May their waters continue to nourish life in our communities. We take a moment of silence, holding all of these in our hearts.
And we continue to welcome in the morning with our opening hymn. It's number 1008 in the teal hymnal. And I invite you to rise and sing out as your bodies and spirits allow, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place, number 1008. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom You stepped out of the rainbow you were in. You stepped out of the rainbow you were in, and now you're here.
The thing is, I'm looking at you and other people, and we're doing a single layer dance now.
It's always hard to know when to come back. That timing. Leave a gap in the middle here. All right. Sometime to sing up in the middle. I wonder what that was like back in the day. Probably pretty cool. Was there an organ here?
Yes,
There was. Is there still an organ?
but it doesn't work. I guess it's really dilapidated.
Okay.
And we used to sing up there a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? That's amazing.
Because it like really fills.
Like goes this.
I just need to take the breath sometime. I have too much.
Thank you. Not to me.
Heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the signs of sacred space, and we burn our hearts within, and we feel the power of each other's faith. When our heart is in a holy place. It's in a holy place. It's in our heart is in a holy place. We are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place.
Is your heart feeling like it is in a holy place right now? I hope so. You never know what's going to happen at welcoming each other. I got a pocket hug today. How sweet is that? I'm going to put it just right here, and it's a pocket hug for all of us to enjoy. This has felt like a long winter for so many reasons. And our earth remained dormant this year, at least in the Throop garden and at my home garden, for a few extra weeks. It's like it was inviting us to slow down in the midst of everything. And with no real rain in November or December, the early green shoots, they stayed hidden a little bit longer underneath the soil. And the fires depleted so many of us, and there are parts of ourselves that may have felt and may still feel like that they're buried underneath the soil, that our grief is buried beneath the soil, and it's buried beneath really this enormity of everything we are trying to move through. Yet surely spring will come to each and every one of you. Those tender green shoots of hope will break through those heavy layers of loss. Spring is starting to bud, and we see it right here in our sanctuary in these beautiful spring bulbs. And in some places, just like in here, it's beginning to blossom. And if you look closely enough, you'll see it. And each week we remind ourselves to look a little bit more closely at our earth, which holds us and nourishes us. And we share our promise to our planet, and the words are in your order of worship. As members of the family of living beings on earth, we are guided by the Unitarian Universalist principle of respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part, with hearts filled with love for it, eyes nurtured by its beauty, and minds ruminating on ways to protect its sacred and scarce resources. We promise to nurture the well-being of all life and of the planet itself.
Our responsive reading today is entitled Marginal Wisdom by the Reverend Leslie Takahashi. Our congregational response is, the possibility of hope rises. They teach us to read in black and white. Truth is this, the rest false. You are whole or broken. Who you love is acceptable or not. Life tells its truth in many hues, but we are taught to think in either or. To believe the teachings of Jesus or Buddha. To believe in human potential or a power beyond a single will. I am broken or I am powerful. The possibility of hope rises. Life embraces multiple truths, speaks of both and of and. We are taught to see in absolutes, God versus evil, male versus female, old versus young, gay versus straight. The possibility of hope rises. Let us see the fractions, the spectrum, the margins. Let us open our hearts to the complexity of our worlds. Let us make our lives sanctuaries to nurture our many identities. The day is coming when all will know that the rainbow world is more gorgeous than monochrome, that a river of identities can ebb and flow over the static, stubborn rocks in its course, that the margins hold the center. The possibility of hope rises.
And each week our children enjoy a Kids Dig In program where they learn about the multitudes in themselves and in others, and we sing them and their program leaders into Kids Dig In. For you shall go out in joy, for you shall go out in joy, and come back in peace, and come back in peace. Blessed be we dance and sing together, Reynold? Thank you.
Our pondering today is from the Hebrew Scriptures, the book of Isaiah, chapter 40, verses 3 through 8. The voice of one crying out in the wilderness, "Prepare the way of the Lord, make his paths straight. Every valley shall be filled, and every mountain and hill shall be made low, and the crooked shall be made straight, and the rough ways made smooth, and all flesh shall see the salvation of God." That was lovely, thank you. This church is our church. We support it through our gifts of time, our gifts of talent, and our gifts of treasure. You can give online. The directions are in the order of worship, or place your gift in the offering plate. If you are a first-time visitor, please let the offering plate pass you by. Thank you for supporting our life together. The offering will now be gratefully received. In a spirit of gratitude, we lift up our thanks to those supporting our worship service today: Brad, our live stream operator; Faith with the children's program, and who has to listen to my son talk so much right now; Barbara, sorry, I love you, Harkin, I just thought I'd sneak that one in there. Barbara, our greeter and usher; Tom, our coffee and conversation host; Reynold on music today; Fillery for her administrative support. As we pause in recognition for all the ways we support our Throop community life, say with me the words of gratitude in your order of service. With gratitude for the ministries of the church that hold us and embolden us to love the world, we bless our offering and the many gifts we share.
And we turn our hearts and minds now to the ways our lives, our hearts are unfolding. I invite you to take a gentle breath in together. Then exhale. And we honor this unfolding with our centering hymn. I know this rose will open. It's in the great hymnal, number 396. And the congregation will sing the hymn through twice together, and then we'll break into a round, and this part of the room will follow the choir members in front of you. And when it comes time, this side of the room will follow these choir members who will be in front of you. And as we sing, I invite you to pay attention to the way your breath is moving through your body, the way these words, this prayer is moving through your body, and think about what is ready to unfold within you.
I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose. I know this rose. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose. I know this rose. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose. I know this rose will open.
Take another gentle breath in and exhale. Gently close your eyes. And as we spend a few moments here in shared stillness, there's an invitation to pay attention to your breath, how your body feels on the pew, letting a stillness wash over you. And in these moments, there is nothing urgent required. There is hopefully no phone to answer, no text to respond to, nothing to scratch off of your to-do list. And in the stillness, identify what is ready to unfold, to take the shape of hope within you. May hope rise in your heart and mind. For all that is our life, we give our thanks and praise. Amen. Thank you, Seven and Michael. In literature, wilderness areas often symbolize emotions that are scary and confusing and that are to be avoided at all times. In the Hebrew scriptures, the Israelites spend 40 years wandering in the desert wilds. They are grumbling to each other. They call it murmuring, but you know that those are just some downright good grumbles there. They're at times angry with Moses, and they're despairing that maybe they were actually better off enslaved in Egypt than living with so much uncertainty. And in the Christian scriptures, Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness where he was tempted by none other than the devil itself, inviting Jesus to turn his back on God. And so many fairy tales, of course, they feature a scary forest and enchanted, untamed wilderness that draws children or princesses into it, and then they're captured by this menacing creature, and only by using their wits, they eventually find their way back out into the daylight. So I grew up with all these stories about the perils of wild places. And it included a very personal one. My grandparents admonished my friends and me that we were never, ever, don't do it, go into the woods that lie right directly behind their house. So as soon as my grandparents turned around and started doing something else, where do you think we went? Not into the kitchen, right into those woods they told us to stay out of. This month in worship, in the past few Sundays, we have been thinking about the possibilities that await us in our lives. And we started by looking at the possibilities we can find in the empty spaces we nurture in our lives. And then we looked at the possibilities and the memories we carry with us through our many senses. And last week, Nick, our intern minister, led us in a reflection about the possibilities inherent in us gathering here as Unitarian Universalist. And today we're going to think about the possibilities we discover in the wilderness edges in each other. So my grandparents lived on a small suburban street in West Indianapolis. And all the houses on their street, they had nice, neat lawns, and they had trimmed foundation plantings. There might be a decorative tree in the front yard, and there were sometimes splashes of seasonal color. And in their neighborhood, there wasn't even that one yard. You know the one I'm talking about. Jean knows what I'm talking about. That yard where the shrubs, they're just doing their own thing. They don't get trimmed. And where the grass is allowed to grow tall and the white dandelion fluff, it blows all around, not just that house's yard, but everybody else's, to the ire of the neighbors. That could be my house. I'm not saying. It just might be. And so it could be that that was one of the reasons that those woods were so alluring to us. The dense growth and the rough, crooked pathways, they were an anomaly in the midst of these buttoned-up houses and the cornfields that were just beyond, their straight rows stretching out toward the horizon. We were sneaking into the shade of that little suburban forest. It was about a decade after Joni Mitchell released that song, Yellow Taxi Cab. You all know that song, Yellow Taxi Cab? Yes, you know I want to sing it. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? Pave paradise, put up a parking lot. Dun, dun, dun. Joni Mitchell's lament about humans trying to subdue our earth and cover up land with concrete and homes and commercial buildings, it echoes this common longing. This longing to be healed and held and inspired by the beauty of our earth. So one effort that is alive today that is trying to counter this paving of paradise, it's an effort known as rewilding. Now, for a while here at Throop, we had our very own rewilding project in a corner of the parking lot. Paula's laughing because our rewilding project got a little too wild and untended, and so we had to take a little pause on that. And last year we turned that area into a peaceful spot that is anchored by a tree. And rewilding is a lot like what it sounds like. It's a process of restoring ecosystems so they can be self-sustaining, so they can support a wide range of habitat and wildlife, and that they can do all of that with a minimum of human intervention to keep it all thriving. And here in LA, we have local examples of people who are advocating and working to rewild parts of Los Angeles. We have the revitalization of the Los Angeles River. There are folks trying to restore the Santa Monica Mountains and renewing the Gabrielino Tongva Sacred Springs Foundation in West LA. One proponent of this approach to tending our earth, they just said simply that rewilding offers hope. When we are in these spaces, it encourages us to peel off layers that have built up in us and around us, layers that are expectations and assumptions about who and what we are. Earlier in worship, Nick shared a passage from Isaiah, a voice calling out in the wilderness. Prepare the way of the Lord, make his path straight. Every valley shall be filled, and every mountain shall be made low, and the crooked shall be made straight, and the rough ways made smooth, and all flesh shall see the salvation of God. That passage was written as a cry of comfort for people who are on the verge of being overtaken by an increasingly authoritarian empire. An ecofeminist interpretation of this passage has something to say to us today. We, these people here in these pews who are bound together by our shared Unitarian Universalist values that call us to honor and appreciate the wild edges of one another's souls. Ecofeminist theology, in part, understands intersections that exist in feminism, in the ecological crisis, and in racism. And ecofeminism seeks to dismantle the powers that dominate and dehumanize any person or any part of our earth. And so, as an eco-feminist, Jewish, mystic, humanist, Unitarian Universalist, I know there's a lot in there, but we carry multitudes, do we not? I read that passage from Isaiah as telling us that hope, that liberating love, that the flourishing of all life, those are found in these places of multitudes and of many hues. It's found in places that are not bound by either or. We find hope and liberating love, not in the neatly manicured, carefully tended personas and identities that fit in a center circle that has been drawn by someone else. But we find the flourishing of life. We find the God of our hearts. We find our whole and holy selves, those selves that we have been looking for and longing for our whole entire lives. We find them in the wildest of spaces, in the mountains and hills and in the valleys, in the low and in the high places, the rough patches and in the smooth ways, and paths that weave and turn, and the ones that flow gently on an endless song. Jackie Lewis, a womanist, theologian, and preacher, she writes about the importance of cultivating the wilderness edges that each of us have, no matter how we identify. Lewis says that these wilderness places are parts of our identity that do not and will not conform to whatever standard the dominating culture has deemed right and acceptable. And my guess is that every one of you have experienced a time in your life where some really, truly essential part of who you are, it wasn't fully welcomed. And maybe that part of you couldn't be shared or understood by people in your family. Maybe it couldn't be known or seen or understood by your partner or by your workplace or even by your best friend. And when that happens, we sing our own lament about having to pave over that part of who we are. Our responsive reading today noted the dichotomies that surround us: true, false, male, female, gay, straight, powerful or broken. But you know that you are oh so much more than any absolute that is ever put on you, that your life tells its truth in many hues. And you and I get in touch with and honor the parts of our identities that exist on the margins, and when we do that, that is what makes us better prepared to understand and empathize and celebrate the person sitting right next to us. It's how we're known and how we can truly begin to know someone else. That little bit of suburban wilderness that so captivated the children of the neighborhood. By the time my own son was born, all of those trees had been cut down to make way for housing. Pave paradise, indeed. And I miss that little group of trees and that wild place. I miss it even now. But of course, the important lesson remains that the wild places in our souls truly can be the absolute best of who we are. May you get to know those wild places within you and those you love. And we sing together our closing hymn. It's in the teal hymnal, Blue Boat Home, number 1064. I invite you to rise and sing as those wild places in your heart and mind want you to sing. Below me I feel no motion,
Standing on these mountains the earth is my blue home.
And gently take the hand or elbow of someone near you in the pews or in the sanctuary. And our chalice is extinguished, and we carry its light with us as we reach toward justice and let the possibility of hope rise within each of us. I love you all. Go out and love the world. Amen, and blessed be.
I was following you. Didn't we have the second verse?
Yeah, whatever.
But oh well.